All right, so
What are you
like,
trying to do, nigga?
nah, like, fucking, damn, what's his name? Fucking, that's how you talk to your son. You know the battle I'm talking about, right?
Oh, Averb.
A Verb when he did that shit.
Averb versus Hitman Hollow.
Yeah, that battle's classic and that hit well. You know what I mean? But it's like sometimes when I hear the hit that nigga Rex mixed in with a rhyme, it's like, yo, like eat that nigga Rex. It's like I don't want to listen to that shit, man. You know what I mean? Not all the time. Who wants to bring us
Yo,
in?
what's
Okay.
going on, everybody? It's the Highly Advised Podcast. You checking in right now with three of your best friends. You know what I'm saying? Right now, you talking to me, Spence. My man's Loud. My man's Nigel with me. What's going on with you guys, man?
What's up? What's up? What's up? You
Oh, this is
already
episode
know.
13, too. Sorry to cut you off.
Yes, sir. Episode 13. 1-3. What's up? How are you guys doing?
Yo, what's going on? Just hanging out, chilling, doing the thing. How have y'all been this week?
Well, it's been actually life has been good, but it has been one hell of a week. Very eventful to say the least. Been reading this new 50 Cent book. It's actually on the Apple Music right now, so you can listen to the audiobook. I think it's like hustle harder, think smarter. So been doing that, working, just staying out the way.
Same old bullshit.
Facts, same here.
Hey, man, that's what's up, man. I'm still selling dope.
Yo, he was waiting to say that shit. You can see it in his face, man. He was waiting. He was waiting to say that.
You could tell before he came on the podcast, he was like, out of the things I want to say today, this is the first thing I'm going to say. Probably tell Lisa, like, yo, what if I say I'm selling dope? When they ask how I'm doing, it's like, what you been up to? Been still selling dope, man. It'd be crazy if the feds came knocking at your door talking about, hey, Mr. Fade.
Open up.
Man, I botched that.
Hey, Mr. Fade, we'd like to talk to you. You're the bad guy, right? No. I don't do nothing wrong, man. I don't know what he's talking about. I don't know nothing. That podcast, that's fake. It's fake news, man.
Yeah, get on the ground and shut the fuck up. We got you. Like.
I'll be like the man from Tourette. I'll just vanish.
Stupid, man.
They're like, oh, he came from the future or some shit like that. Like, fuck out of here.
How's your week been, though, man?
It's been good. I mean, personally, it's been good. I mean, it's nothing bad. My daughter, she finished school, so she's officially
nice.
a
first grader now, which is good.
Ooh, that's what's
Congratulations.
up.
Thank you.
We had a soundboard, give her a standing applause.
Yeah, we need something like that, like a little like sound something or other.
Yeah. Or no something we can just have you clap the whole way through. Yeah, don't do nothing else. And when I point,
no speaking.
Yeah, no speaking for the podcast. When I look at you, I'm a point, and you just gonna clap. All right.
We don't need your opinions, none of that. Just make sure you're ready to clap when we need you to.
It's like
when somebody makes a good point, you clap for them.
Yeah.
Otherwise, shut the fuck up.
You watch I think it was from Candyman, where I guess they was gonna say his name, and the chick was like,
oh yeah.
Name.
She's like,
yo, that's what as soon as I was like, well, I think that's not what you're here for. That shit was hella loud too.
I'd be off the podcast fast, like
I'll be on my Suge Knight shit.
Oh, wow. Come here, hang me out on window, like
yeah.
You say you're gonna quit, huh?
It's like yeah, it's like, oh, what you you trying to go to heaven? Oh, you trying to quit? Like you trying to quit life?
Jesus, man. My week's been interesting, y'all.
Damn, we didn't even ask you, but y'all, how's your week?
Yeah, I was waiting.
You're not even on here for that.
I was waiting for somebody to ask me, but nobody asked. So I'm just gonna, I'm gonna
we don't care.
Going.
We don't care.
But would y'all like to hear what happened this week?
Not really. So anyway, Lau.
Wow.
All right, let me stop playing with you.
All right.
What the fuck you been up to, man?
So my week's been interesting. All of us out here have our jobs, and I got a call from my manager not so long ago. Said, hey, Nigel, we've been doing a good job. So I asked her, I was supposed to get a promotion. I was supposed to be get a new title for my job, essentially. She said, yeah. So about that, you're not getting it. You're not getting that. Not only that, but we're cutting some of your pay.
Jesus.
Yeah. So I was essentially what I said was, so you're telling me that I need to start looking for a new job. And she was, because it's like, look, that happened to somebody else. They took a third of his pay. And I was like, oh no.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Yo, what do you expect? What type of response do you think you're going to get from a person when you do something like that?
No, the response is, all right, well, you told me to put in my 2 weeks. That's the response. So I'm currently, on the job market again, and, hopefully something, will come up soon. But I have a feeling that
We already talked about this. What are
you talking about?
We already told you what you're gonna be doing.
Focusing strictly on the podcast, I'm gonna quit working, right?
Yeah.
As soon as the podcast starts paying for my bills, I'm more than down for it.
Patreon, man. You better, you know what I'm saying? If you work hard, we can all eat.
Yeah, something like that.
That's true.
Yeah.
But it was like, so what y'all be doing on the podcast? I don't do nothing. I just show up, I talk, tell Nigel, yo, you got all day, man. Make it happen.
Nigel, why'd you move back in with your mom? Like, a funny story about that. The podcast was the most important thing that I was working on, so I had to quit everything else.
Imagine you doing that. Your mom, you telling your mom like, oh yeah, so she's saying, oh, so you gonna I need rent. Yeah, I ain't really got no money right now. I'm just focusing on the podcast. So where you gonna live? Oh, I need to live here. I need to use this electric, this water, and this internet for free. Man. And can you upgrade the internet for me, please?
Man, like I am by no means rich. You know what I mean? Like, I am blessed with a decent job, and I make a little bit of money. But if you tell anybody that they're about to lose a fifth of their pay, I'm expecting them to leave. I don't care what job you're working.
Yeah, that's a fifth of your pay. That's crazy.
Yeah, whatever a fifth of your pay is for your job. Like, just imagine that. That is easily a bill.
Yeah, shit, bro. That's more than just that's a bill. That's a bill and some.
That's a bill and some. So, and just
that's
imagine,
like a vacation. That's a man. Listen, that's a lot.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
And then they also took my leadership position away.
Huh?
Yeah, they took my leadership position away. They put me under the worst lead on the team.
This is why you wanted people to ask you how your week been.
Man, I've been fucking stewing over this shit for the past few days. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I am very thankful for the position I'm in. I'm a blessed guy, but I know that I can do better, so I will. Period.
Thanks. Yeah,
yes, sir.
No need to stand somewhere where they try and cut you short, man.
Yeah, they don't appreciate me. Clearly, they don't. So it's funny because I asked my boss. I was like, "Hey, is there any way that we can put in something to fight this?" And she was like, "Well, we actually can, but it doesn't look like it would go through well, so we're just not gonna try."
What?
I was like, all right, bitch, peace. Like,
AK, we really don't want to fucking help you.
Right, yeah. Exactly. So I'm just like, I don't need that shit. Like, I will take my services elsewhere. Thank you very much. It's been cool, but I'm done.
Nah, they said, yo, just leave us. Yo, hey, yo, you think I can? You guys said I'm doing good. I'm gonna do this. So how we gonna fix this? Psh, ain't nothing we can do for you, man. You just, you're gonna have to figure it out. I know someone did tell me, like one of the CEOs of a company had to take like a 50% pay cut.
Man,
but you're talking like millions of dollars. You're probably talking about probably about $1 million or so.
Yeah, I'm sure that they won't be hurting too bad. Like, this shit hurts me. Like, this shit hurts me a little bit. So I'm like, oh, okay, well, I wish I was making millions of dollars. That'd be great. No, I'm not, whoa. Relax.
Nah, no ramen, man?
I've never really liked ramen noodles. So, I mean, like, well, me and Lyle, we were working at Walmart, at one point in time in life. And he was actually, it's a funny story. So when me and Lyle used to live together, we ate Little Caesars pizza every day for like a solid month because it was cheap. It was cheap. We ate it every day. Breakfast, lunch, dinner. Every day.
Your insides had to hate you. Yeah.
I haven't ate this shit since. Like, I don't think I have. Like, it's like And if I did, it was because I was low on money again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know y'all had to save so much money doing that.
I've
That's
worked
all.
hard. I've worked hard to get into the position where I'm at right now, and not do that. So
And you
I
too
will
good to go
not
back
do.
to the Caesars, man.
Nah, man, I'm not
Man,
too good for
man.
anything. Like
Oh, you
if I
you
need
want
to
them
eat,
bougie, the
nah,
bourgeoisie.
I'm not too
In the
good for
words of Umar,
anything.
the bourgeoisie.
I just can't do that, man. Like, like it's like I said, I've worked hard to get to where I am, and I just expect better. That's all. If I'm not above eating Little Caesars, but I don't prefer it. That's for damn sure. And if I had to do it, I would do it, but I don't have to.
I feel you. If you do have ramen, right? It's gonna probably sound nasty when I tell you this. This is the way you eat it. You don't eat it. Don't eat it the way how people always eat this shit. What you do is you cook it in the water or
The
whatever.
only person I've ever seen eat ramen raw was fucking Lao.
What?
That's the only person I've ever seen
Yo,
eat the shit straight out the bag. Like,
yo,
Yeah,
that's right.
nigga.
Because you was seasoning the joint like it. You treat it
yeah,
like
like it was
potato
chips.
chips.
Yeah, chips.
Yeah, nigga.
It's like, come on, man.
So man, chilling like like he on the block or something. Like, it's like, yeah, man. So what you eating? Noodles? Yeah, man. It's the shrimp flavor ones, man. You can't get these in the store, man.
I
Shrimp
have the
flavor.
oregano flavor tomorrow.
Facts.
All right. So where would y'all like to start off this
And
week?
Neanderthals. Um, shit, man. I mean, it's been a lot going on this week, man. Like, I don't know if you've been keeping up, but like, you know how there's been like Dave Chappelle has some like he put out a new special, right?
Okay.
But like before we get into it, well during his special, I don't know if you noticed that he had like everybody sectioned away like 6 feet apart, right?
Okay.
So still practicing social distancing. Well, I guess because of stuff like that, like Travis, and like I'm not sure if you heard, but some comedians are actually doing it where they were telling comedy while people sat in their cars and they will honk.
Yeah, he
if
brought
it
that
was
up during the
funny,
special.
right? Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I remember hearing about it like last week or something. But Travis Porter, they did a parking lot concert, and it was like a crazy concert. Like they pulled up to a parking lot on top of a bus, like a school bus or something like that, and they performed on top of a school bus and like some random parking lot. It must have been like 100 people out there. Chicks was on top of cars shaking ass. I was like, damn, I didn't even know they was still lit like this anymore.
I believe it because when they were popular, like girls really seemed to gravitate towards their music.
Yep. Yeah, actually, I think we knew a couple of people that was like that liked Travis Porter.
Yeah, like I'm about to send it to y'all on Instagram. Y'all gotta check it out. Yeah, like I think Jones definitely loved Travis Porter, and on top of it, like I don't know, they had some hits like Breakfast at the Waffle House.
Yeah.
No, so was it called? No, it's called Waffle House. I think Breakfast at the Waffle House. Can I get a sausage biscuit? That's when Waka Flocka gave us some of his best bars. You see how crazy the turnout is for them to just do a sold out parking lot
Oh, that shit's cool, man.
concert.
Yeah, I want to look at this, guys.
Yeah, this shit is crazy. I'm real curious to see what's gonna happen with like other artists if they'll try to figure out a way of like imagine someone like Drake doing some shit like this. Damn, you're not gonna watch the video I sent?
Nah, bro. You know why I can't watch that type of shit.
Why?
Like I like
You
to
know why?
admire the female anatomy. So, but
You know why I can't, man. You know I'm gonna make a lot of people upset if I start mentioning inappropriate topics. You know I'm a holy man.
okay.
Shut the hell up. You're a holy man. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, man. El Chapo Don Pablo, he's really holy. You know that. Come on.
Right.
Cap.
Well, what did y'all think of the
The Dave Chappelle shit.
the Dave Chappelle special?
I liked it. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, I just read your comment.
I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. I thought, he made some strong points about things, and I know he's gonna definitely have detractors from that shit, but it was really good, and I suggest everybody definitely watching it. It's only going to take 20-some minutes of your time.
Well, no, I was just gonna say, like, Dave Chappelle, like, really, when he gets in his bag and starts to really talk about social issues and just things that he cares about, he's just a really good speaker, along with being a funny comedian.
Yeah, that's a fact. Like Dave Chappelle, like he finds a way of making his comedy, to me, they're TED Talks, if anything.
Yeah.
Where he's kind of he's always done his whole career. Funny enough, actually, I was actually thinking about one of his comedy sketches earlier this week before 8 minutes and 46 seconds came out, where he had talked about how cops will kill a black person, right? And it reminded me of the Breonna Taylor thing, where, because you remember how they were saying how the cops broke in because they heard it was like a burglary or something like that, or the drugs or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you remember the Dave Chappelle joint where he was like, it's not safe to call the cops as a black man, because you can call them and say, I think someone broke into my house, and they will come in your house. They'll come into your house, kill you, and they'd be like, that's odd, Johnson. Apparently, he put up pictures of him and his family all through the house after he broke in. Let's sprinkle some crack on him. All right,
Yep.
Open and shut case.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's like the what happened with that one shooting where the female officer broke in the guy's house, shot him in his own house, and said, "Oh, I thought I was breaking into my apartment and made a mistake."
Oh,
that shit, y'all remember that shit happened last
Yeah.
year?
Yeah, last year.
Like,
was it last year or was it 2 years ago?
It was last year.
No, I think the incident happened before last year, but I think the case was ended last year. Yeah.
But it's just unfortunate that he was in his own house and got shot. It's a shame.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Like that's taking fear to the ultimate level. Like, to imagine not feeling.
Botham Jean was his name.
You said Botham Jean?
Yes, Botham Jean.
Oh, got you. Botham Jean. Rest in peace.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Did she end up going to jail for that?
I'm honestly not sure. I'm going to look into it after we get done recording, or I might even look into it now if y'all really want to know.
Yeah.
I believe she did, but I don't think she has like a super extreme sentence.
Probably not. It probably was like manslaughter or some shit.
I think it was to the point where they really tried to defend her, but it was so bad that they just had to let it go.
Even though outside of that one, I'm surprised Dave didn't bring that one up during his special, because he was reflecting back on, who was it, like not Chris Darden.
Chris Dooney, I want to say.
I believe so. Yeah, I think it was Chris Dooney or something like that.
Yeah.
He reflected on the ex-cop and I think it was an ex-Navy or ex-military. I remember when that whole thing happened. And just the way, watching that situation, but even watching the Dave Chappelle special, it makes you realize like how things really are. Or even like John Wick. Y'all remember John Wick last year, right? You don't. Oh, okay. So John Wick was, he was a dude out of Philly that I guess they had called the cops on it was like a domestic abuse thing. I guess him or his girl, or somehow he made the police think the situation was happening upstairs. You remember this? It happened in Philly. And when the cops got upstairs, he started letting off like an AK-47 into the roof to try to like shoot the police.
Jeez.
Yeah, like that was like a real crazy thing. The internet, I forget what his name was, but because they actually was able to capture him and he went to jail. Like, I don't know what happened with his sentence or anything like that, but the internet dawned him to be John Wick or whatever.
I remember hearing something about it, but I wasn't sure of the details.
Yeah, I was confused because I thought he was talking about the fucking movies. I was like, yeah, I didn't realize he was talking about a real life situation.
Yeah, this happened in Philly last year, I believe. Yeah, I think they called him John Wick or something like that. It was a real crazy situation.
Amber Geiger got sentenced to 10 years, by the way. 5 years. 5 years without parole.
That shit is crazy.
Yeah, no,
that is crazy.
She deserves that shit, man. If I were to break into your house and kill you, I'd go to jail for a very long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Easily.
Without question, and you start to say to yourself, like, yo, how does something like that happen? And then when you listen to like even Chappelle stand up and say, as he recounts different times in history where these situations have happened that you just say like, how does this happen again and again?
Yeah.
And the thing that was admirable about his was just the way he took about it on his platform, because a lot of times, which is very annoying to me, and I don't really understand it to some extent, why people feel the need for celebrities to give their opinion on stuff. Actually, that was something I wanted to talk about too. But I'll get to it. But celebrities sit in a different pocket where they find ways of not talking about something because they don't want it to hurt their relationships or their money. So at the end of the day, I'm not saying that's right, or I'm not saying it's right or anything. I'm not justifying it, but at the same time, you shouldn't wait to look for celebrities. But Dave even broke that down by just talking about how spoiler. Well, man, listen, if y'all haven't heard this shit yet, y'all should have listened to it.
Yeah, it's just a good talk. Like, definitely everybody should hear it, just for the sake of just hearing what he has to say about. You don't need to hear from Dave Chappelle, but he explains it in a good way.
Yeah, like and I say, and I mean that in terms of like spoiler alert. Like if it's a spoiler alert, you might want to check the captions for the timestamps. Like my thing is this though, like with Dave Chappelle, his shit, you say to yourself like, the man's a genius at the way. If I don't know if you pay attention to how he actually crafts this shit up when he does his stand-ups. Like when you first started watching it, right? Were you trying to figure out where he was going with it? Like you had an idea based off the title, but like he starts it off with like the whole earthquake thing.
Yeah.
And you see like, okay, you're like, to me at first, I'm like, okay, I get what you're doing, but where exactly are you trying to take me with this? And then next thing you know, he hits us with, it was like 30 seconds. And just imagine the fear and pain I was in, but he put his neck on somebody for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. And it's like his transition, like I paid attention to that with Chappelle for some years. Like his transition game is just immaculate.
Through the roof. Like he's really great at it. He was talking about how his dad was yelling out for his grandmother, and then even talked about that more towards the end as well. Like he's really good at just making it all full circle.
Exactly. Just the way he related the whole situation of how when his father was calling out for his mother and saying, or his grandmother, and saying like how that was a slave, like that grandmother was a slave.
Yep.
So like he knew that he was going. That's how he could indicate that his father was about to pass, was crossing over, and the same with George Floyd with that situation. Like for me personally, I'm gonna be honest, I watched clips of that 8 minutes and 46 seconds. I can't stomach watching the whole thing just because of like, it's a real sick situation.
It's torture porn. That's what it is.
Sheesh. Yeah, I guess
no, that is what his murder is. It is torture porn. Like to see somebody just on the ground for that long and eventually die, like it's torture porn. That's what it is. Like for me, it's the Philando Castile death is the one that gets me, because like his daughter's in the backseat, and I saw that and I almost cried. I was just like, damn, like I felt terrible like watching it. I was just like, I couldn't imagine, how the mother felt in that situation. Just gonna be scarred for life. Like it's crazy.
That's a fact.
I just don't like how people make fun of that shit. Dave Chappelle hit the nail right on the head, saying when a nigga is calling for his mother, he knows he's about to fucking die. Like that shit is real life serious. It's not a fucking joke. But you're gonna have people like, pussy ass Candace Owens that Dave Chappelle even got on. That's like, oh well, he's a criminal. He did this, he did that, which has nothing to do with anything. But motherfuckers, they love defending racist shit. They do.
Yeah, I remember. I think I didn't say her name, but I think it was probably like 2 or 3 episodes ago when we had started talking. When we had that, I think it was episode 10 where we talked about George Floyd. I was referring to some comments that I seen with her, because I seen that clip, and someone like her, it's just like, it's real distasteful seeing something like that where someone can say like, she brings up his criminal record from 1998 or 99 all the way to 2014 when he gets out of jail, and says, oh, because I'll never forget watching this. She says, "Oh, he had claimed to move to Minnesota to start a new life until he didn't have any issues with the police officers from 2014, all from when he got out of jail in 2014, all the way up until he was murdered by the police. He's still a criminal." And I'm like, dude, what? You make no sense whatsoever.
She's a sellout, man. She's a sellout bitch. Man, fuck, call her what she is. She's a selling out bitch. She's a fucking coon. And I just don't understand. Man, fuck her. I don't understand how that means anything in what happened to him.
Yeah,
exactly.
The nigga wasn't, he didn't have a pistol on him and he was rolling around trying to pull it out. This nigga had nothing. He was unarmed. And the racist motherfucker had his fucking knee on the back of his neck trying to perform a fatality, and he was sitting there. He was cool with it. Then you had the fat, tubby Asian man, the other officer, that was just sitting there. He was cool with it too. And then she's sitting there and saying, "Oh, well, he's a criminal. I don't defend him. I don't know why people are supporting him." Like, fuck you, bitch. Are you for real? Like, somebody with a name, somebody with a presence, and that's what you worried about? And that's how you really, like, you're not for us at all.
That's a fact. She has
fuck
no
her.
empathy. She has no empathy, and that's what it is.
Fuck her.
When people react to things like that, it makes me not feel bad for them when things happen to them.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the issue with her is, like, even like she tried to justify that situation by saying there was because you know how they try to say he was on fentanyl or something like that, some BS like that they try to say. So they were trying to say, like, the cops, when they came up to him, he was on some type of drug or some shit like that. But that didn't seem the case when he's trying, like, when he's telling you, "I can't breathe." He doesn't look like a person. He doesn't look or sound like a person that's just high out their mind. Like, we've all seen someone like that. We've all seen people like that, whether it be in real life or just through videos on the internet. Like, you can distinguish what's real and what's fake. So, like, I don't buy that shit whatsoever. But, like, even with Candace Owens, I tried actually listening to her because she did a Joe Rogan probably about 2 years ago. And because I'm real curious, because a lot of times when people have that type of mentality, it always kind of stems from some event.
Exactly.
Like, whether you weren't deemed quote unquote black enough, so you found that you were better off just rebelling and going. So you found where you would be better off going somewhere else and associating yourself with another party. But her story was crazy because she had said to Joe Rogan how, like, I guess she started dating a dude and her male best friend or something like that was a gay guy. And, well, I would say boy in this case because they're like teenagers. I guess him and like 3 of his friends called her phone, calling her like the N-word and saying they're going to hang her and all of this stuff. And she says it's not a hate crime. It's just some kids acting dumb because I guess the kid, her gay friend, was upset or some shit that she stopped hanging out with him to be with her boyfriend. So she said she told her teacher, and her teacher made a big thing, and come to find out one of the kids was actually the son of the governor or the mayor of the state of Connecticut or the city that she lived in. And it blew up into this big thing. And she was like, "Oh yeah," she was like, "I realized then that this is just the media blows things out of proportion because it became national news, all this other stuff." And I'm just like, dude, like even Joe Rogan was trying to tell you, that's a hate crime, right? She was like, it's not necessarily a hate crime. People just like labeling things. And I'm like, yo, you sound dumb. In my mind, I'm just saying, you sound dumb. And she's very articulate. She's a very smart woman. Or I wouldn't even call her smart. I wouldn't call her smart, but I say that to say she's the idea of what some would say excellence is, right? In the way that she carries herself and the way she's able to speak. But then it's just like she says like horse shit out of her mouth. And that's when it's just like, yo, you're just an idiot. You're an idiot that just knows how to speak well.
She's a person who can speak well with terrible views.
Views. Dave Chappelle said it on his thing.
Yeah, he did say it well. She's so articulate. She can tell you how dumb she is precisely.
Yes.
Jesus.
Fuck her, man. That shit is just not cool. It's not cool at all, man.
It's not, man.
It's
But
not cool.
I don't expect it to get I don't really expect things to really die down anytime soon because we had another situation in Atlanta with Rayshard Brooks.
So that situation was crazy, right? Because this nigga he's sleeping inside his car at the Wendy's drive-thru, and the employees call the police. And then apparently the police they did a sobriety test, and then he failed it. According to what I read, he failed it. So they like wrestling this nigga. Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say because I watched the video this morning.
It
It wasn't.
because I only saw a part of it, and I can only comment on that part that I saw.
Yeah, well, I watched from only part the video that I watched is like 3 minutes, I think. He's talking to the officer. He tells the officer like pretty much like, hey, yeah, I've been pretty much telling the officer I've been drinking. I don't know what I was drinking, but I did have like 1 or 2 drinks. He was like, my sister lives up the street. I'll walk to my sister's house. My sister lives like across the street from here. I'll walk to her house. Because he was pretty much trying to avoid going to jail, essentially. And the officer was just like, him and the officer were just talking for a little bit. He didn't have his hand. He wasn't handcuffed or anything like that. The officer they searched him to make sure he didn't have anything. He was clean. He had some money, so he probably came from a strip club or something. Because the officer was just like, oh, why do you got so much money in your pocket? He's like, oh, that's all. He's like, what is that, all ones? He was like, yeah. He's like, it's just a bunch of ones, probably coming from the club or some shit like that. And I guess somewhere along the lines, the officer was like, well, I need to give you a sobriety check. I need to check to see if you've been drinking. So he ended up, I don't even think they got to the point, but I think next thing you know, it just went left after that. Because they tried to like handcuff him. I believe they were trying to handcuff him or something. And then like they kind of, I guess they got in a tussle or whatever, because I'm looking at it through a body cam. And for some odd reason, the body cam just is laying there. And then next thing you know, that's what it is. You see where I guess he tries to take the taser from the officer because he's resisting. And I guess the officer tries to take the taser. I don't know. And he takes the taser from the officer, I believe. And I guess they're on the ground, and then he gets up and he runs off. And next thing you know, you hear the shots that ring out. But it was a clear indication that it was like, okay, he didn't do anything. What they'll try to say is from looking at the clip on the Wendy's camera, it looked like, I guess, as he was running away, he turned around.
Exactly. That's
because he had because he had the taser gun. I didn't watch the part when they shot him. I'll be honest with you. I'm sorry. I don't really want to keep watching people being murdered on TV, like, or on the internet. It's just something that you don't want to grow desensitized to.
Yeah.
Just messing with your psyche day to day.
Me personally, I didn't really see much of the video. I only saw what looked to be, him aiming the taser back at the cop, and I guess afterwards, like, he got shot in the back. But if you know anything about the rules of self-defense, if you shoot somebody in the back, that cannot be ruled self-defense. That's
Exactly.
just the way it goes.
Exactly. It's not self-defense. At that moment, when you're shooting someone in the back, you're hunting for them. Exactly. To me, that's what that is. Only time it is fair game to shoot anything that's running from you is probably an animal. And even then, with animals, you want to shoot them when they're still. You shouldn't be shooting a person that's running away. Like with that situation, you see something like that. How does that happen? Or even the other countless times where you've seen people being shot that don't look like Rayshard Brooks. They get tased, or they find a way of, even like Dylan Roof. He gets taken to Burger King before going to jail because he's hungry after he's murdered people in a church after praying with them, after they prayed over him.
The sad truth of it is that I'm pretty sure that they're going to find a way around that. And I really hope they don't, because I feel like that's something that should be investigated a little bit more.
No, they not. I don't think this is one of the ones it's going to be hard to. This happened in Atlanta, in a black neighborhood, I believe. Like with a black mayor, with a city that has a black mayor. that called for him to become. They asked him to step down, so he was fired. The officer was fired, and that was also because of the pressure that the mayor put on the police officers as well, on the police department. So
the chief resigned, the Atlanta police chief
Yeah.
resigned, and then the other person that was involved in that situation, he was put on administrative leave.
Because they know they were wrong. That's the thing.
I'm hoping that case is done civilly. Civilly, but also done in the correct manner, because it's just the flaw of the system where they tell you you'll be you're supposed to be tried in a court of you're pretty much the people that are going to be your judge, that's going to make the judgment, is like your own people that look like you, essentially, or people that are your peers, right?
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that, but typically that doesn't happen a lot of times in certain areas, because you'll have a lot of minority. You'll see a lot of times where minorities, the juries will not be people that look like them, that are from their neighborhood, that can vouch to say if this is right or if this is wrong. It's typically someone that comes from a different part of that city or whatever, that has a different look at things. So if that was to be taken on trial, I would hope it would be done with people that can be on the jury that are from that neighborhood, that's in that area, since the crime happened in that area. But the way the system is kind of shaky.
That's why we got to keep on protesting. We got to, stay out there and keep on fighting for what we believe in, making sure that what's going on.
No, I was gonna say, well, you talking about protesting. I was gonna say, did you see about the protesting in Atlanta?
What's going on?
Like, they ended up shutting down I-75. Like, what protesters ended up getting on I-75, which is a major highway in Georgia. Like, the same way 95 is for us, that's what 75 is /85 is for them.
Okay.
So, like, they got on 75 and they blocked all of 75. They blocked all of 75. I'm not sure what way the traffic was going, but they blocked one side of 75. And you could literally see traffic piled up all the way to the back, that looked like it had to be like almost a mile long, if not more, of just traffic. But it was a protest for Rayshard Brooks. In addition to that, they're not saying, there is video of it, of the Wendy's and where that crime scene happened, that people put it on fire, that they burned the Wendy's down. They burned that Wendy's down as well. But just like a lot of this looting stuff, you see where apparently I think CNN was actually on the ground when this happened. Like, when people were like smashing up the Wendy's or whatever, you can see where I think CNN, like, people were taking, like, it was pretty much the people broke the camera of CNN. The news reporter from CNN, they broke his camera because they were trying to get him not to be able to. They were trying to stop him from filming it, though people were filming it on their phones, which is weird in itself because it's a crime. But that's the internet, and you see where it's a Caucasian lady that actually throws the bomb or whatever it is, the fire that burns the building down.
Molotov?
It's her that,
like a Molotov.
Yeah, something like that. Like, I don't know if it was a Molotov or what. I know it was a rag, but it probably was a Molotov, if anything. But she was the one that threw it in there. She started the fire. So my whole thing is, and you had people that was there protesting and whatnot that saw that was trying to tell those people not to do that. That's not what we're here for. Just like Dave Chappelle said, like, when situations like that happen, that's the street speaking for what's going on. It's just an unfortunate situation, to say the least.
I'm not sure if y'all saw, but they're trying to make the KKK, which I didn't know this. Fun fact: the KKK is not known as a terrorist group.
Yeah, you didn't know that?
Didn't know. I thought they were. I mean, I figured we all knew that they were at least a hate group.
That's not by no. They're not labeled that by the government.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
Surprise.
Yeah, it's not. It is, but it's the irony of it is because the Black Panthers was considered a terrorist group, right?
Yeah, it's fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was always a thing about it. Like, how can they not be in the government? How can the Black Panthers be, but the KKK can't be?
Yeah, I know.
But of course, it shows you America.
the Black Panthers, they get a lot of hate for different reasons, and it's bullshit. You know, I think that's just the way history played out for us. But it's just crazy when you think about it, and you just know how things have actually went down.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact. Like things need to change, and I think things will change. I just don't know to what capacity.
The other night, I was hanging out with Gilroy. He had like a solid theory about it. You know, I definitely want to give him credit. He was saying that as each generation go by, certain things are going to start to phase out. And so things like you're going to have the old super hardcore racist people, they're phased out. Now, granted, they have kids, so they're going to be there, but eventually they're going to phase out. So it's going to get to a point where racism is going to be low. Now, Gilroy also said that we might not be alive to see like a real change, but his theory was, you know, eventually it will happen in a lifetime.
I agree. I agree to some extent. Like I think it will happen eventually, and I agree with the whole thing about like the shit phasing out, because eventually it phases out in terms of how hardcore and publicly how people publicize their bigotry and racism, and I think it changes over time just because there's more equal opportunity in this country now than it's ever been before, and it's still not equal completely. So right. I think in them situations, like it's going to happen. It's just a matter of when. Well, it's a matter of when and if we'll see it.
We're getting some of the shit out of here. Fucking the Confederate flag. We're trying to get that taken down. You know what I mean? From everywhere.
Yeah. You saw NASCAR got rid of it.
Yep. And this guy, I can't remember his name.
I think the Marines also.
Ray something or other. Yeah, the Marine said it.
Ray Mysterio?
Not Ray Mysterio. I can't remember his name, but he was just like, I won't be racing anymore. Da da da. They were like, okay, cool. You never won a race. Get the fuck out of here.
What?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm dead serious. So it's like a joke. He's became a joke on the internet because he quit NASCAR. It's like, okay, were you ever racing in the first place? You're always losing.
Jesus, that's sick. That's sick. That's it. Yo, the internet holds no punches, man.
Yeah, no, it's crazy.
No Cops, Cops got Cops, the TV show.
Yeah,
that's over. Live PD canceled.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
I never watched Live PD, but I've heard something about it.
It's basically another iteration of Cops, but the gimmick of it is, it's actually live, so let's tune in. When really it's all pre-recorded.
Yeah, you can't do a show like that live anyway. Like, imagine, like, just you know what I mean? Like, would you actually want to have some of that shit live? Like, no, you wouldn't.
Well, that's the reason why it was canceled, because one of the sessions was they killed an unarmed black man.
Really?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Well, speaking of live shit, the NBA is trying to come back, and apparently I've heard that LeBron and Kyrie are having a disagreement about the whole situation.
Yeah.
Really?
LeBron,
what happened?
Yeah. Well, so NBA Players Association housed a phone call, and there's some people that voiced their opinions on, hey, we don't want to return, and some people are kind of like, yeah, we want to return. And so the people who want to return is kind of, hey, I want to get back to work. I want to make money. The other people that don't want to return is because, like, hey, there's a pandemic still going on. It's not safe. Or other people are like Kyrie, we have social issues going on. Some things are bigger than basketball, yada, yada, yada. So now there's this thing going on now. It's like, well, like, is LeBron right? Hey, let's get back to making some money for us, because not everybody makes Kyrie money, because it's easy for Kyrie to be like, I'm not going to play. Nigga, Kyrie has shoes and Foot Locker. You know what I mean? Right. So he got bread. But somebody who's a bench warmer, and not to discredit the NBA players because they're the best players in the fucking world, but somebody who sits on the bench normally, he ain't making no Kyrie LeBron money. So he's really depending on the NBA coming back so he could continue to make money. And so it's kind of like both sides of the coin. There's good points on both sides. And it's this new debate now, kind of like, okay, do we go back to make this money and we could still help social injustice issues when we get paid, like LeBron said, or like, no, like Kyrie, we're not going to go back at all, and we're fuck it for the season.
I mean, I agree. I get both sides. I think some people want to come back because it financially supports them, and they let a lot of athletes and stars live check to check. But I agree with Kyrie to some extent. Well, I agree with Kyrie for the most part because I think it's more important for people to be able to come to actually stand in solidarity with the people of showing, hey, I understand I have a job to do, and I'm an athlete as an entertainer, but at the same time, I'm in his case because he has a lot of other ventures going on. He's financially able to say, "Hey, I'm going to actually sit. I can sit down, and I'm willing to sit down and just focus on the social issues going on in this world because let's be real, any of these situations can be anybody. It could be anybody, any athlete can end up being a George Floyd, a Eric Gardner, or whatever the case may be. Just if an officer doesn't know who they're dealing with. So I'm for it. I'm for it with Kyrie, honestly.
Well, let me say this before you say your piece, Nigel. So nobody has done more for the community than LeBron James. And LeBron James wants to go back and play basketball. LeBron James has opened a school. LeBron James has done a lot of social things for black people. And Kyrie, I'm not saying he hasn't done anything, but what he has done compared to LeBron is nothing. And LeBron believes that he could go back and play basketball, make his money, and still help other people out. There's other NBA players that's voicing their same opinion as well. I think if Kyrie wants to, not play the game because he believes that, hey, it's best for him to stand with his people and all that, 100% respect it, do your thing. But I don't know if that's fair to, affect the rest of the people that actually depend on the money or that doesn't have the same stance as Kyrie. You know what I mean? Because let's put yourself at your job. Let's say you're like, no, I'm not going back to work because I believe I'm going to protest with my people. So that means nobody else should go back to work. And it doesn't work. It's like, hey, if you don't want to go back to work, that's your decision. Whether somebody thinks it's wrong, right or wrong, that's on them. But that's your decision. But your decision should affect other people if they want to go back to work or not. And Kyrie is kind of playing a role in that. The NBA, like Players Association, kind of like the NFL thing. It's not a single person that. It's not. It's kind of like a majority rules type of deal. So if you have enough people voicing their opinions about something and a decision is made, you're affecting all the players. It's not just a single player.
But it happens. That's a twofold thing. That's a double-sided thing, though, because what if half the players are like, hey, what if a minority of the players in this situation, if they were to vote yes to go back, a minority of the players are like, hey, I'd rather not play so I could just deal with focusing on the social issues and impacts right now. So by them have their obligations of playing the game, that can impede on what they want to do. So it works the same way. Granted, one side is getting paid and one side isn't, but it's the same difference to some degree. Like I understand where someone else comes from, and I'm not really the one to say, I don't like to compare in those situations accolades to accolades, because we're not trying to say who has the right and who doesn't have the right to say that players should play when it comes to Kyrie versus LeBron based on what they've done for people and how they've helped their community, because I'm quite sure Kyrie has done the same. Everybody doesn't put what they do within the media. And on top of it, like someone like LeBron James, he's at such a high status that is always going to look that way by most people.
I think maybe there could be some type of middle ground where they can come back and actually give a percentage of their money to the cause, because.
But who wants to do that though?
I mean, I doubt people are really trying to give up all their money, but at the same point in time, like if some people want to help out the cause, I'm pretty sure everybody wants to help out the cause, but I'm pretty sure everybody wants to get paid. Well, I would assume that most of them want to help out the cause.
Well, you never know. you know, like that's one of them situations where you never really know, because in the same breath, like you look at someone like Cap, for instance, right? Like, granted, he lost his job. He lost his job. He created pretty literally, now that you see everything that's going on now, you see where the NFL is like, okay, he was right, we were wrong, or whatever the case may be. Like, he lost his job for that. And I think in the sense with Kyrie, it's kind of saying like, okay, I don't think we should be playing because there's more things going on. And I'm quite sure there is some sense of, there's probably racial tension within, even, well, there is, of course, there's racial tension within the NBA when you look at someone. Yeah, like you look at I forget that old dude's name that owned the Clippers before. Like, he lost the team because he was calling people the N-word and all that type of shit.
Wasn't his name like Donald Sterling or something like that?
Yeah,
Yes.
It was him. So, like, even in that sense, like, that stuff happened. That stuff is gonna happen. But see, like, you're gonna have people like that. Like, so it's probably better to address the issues when in a situation like this right now. It's better it's easier to address the issues by saying, let's put everything on a standstill and let's have a real conversation versus, hey, let's shut up, let's just dribble this ball, and on your free time, do what you can. If I know you may feel as though you can do a bigger impact off the court, but instead you got practice. You got a game to play.
Me personally, I agree with you, but at the same point in time, it's like, I understand that not everybody will get paid. So I can understand why people would want to make it back to the sport and actually play basketball. It's just that I agree with you when you say some things are more important than all the other shit. Like,
but that's always going to be the case, though.
I mean, the way I see it is this, right? There's things that's bigger than basketball. There's things that's bigger than sports, and I get that. But it's easier for somebody like Kyrie, who has multiple ventures, and he doesn't need to play the game for the rest of the season, for him to be like, yeah, let's just cancel the rest of the season, versus somebody who doesn't have the opportunities like Kyrie to do the same thing. You know what I mean? And I feel like if somebody like LeBron, who people are starting to shit on, which is not fair, because LeBron has done a lot more than any other fucking NBA player today. If you think about it, the only other NBA player you can really compare him to is KD. Somebody like LeBron is like, hey, I can still play the game and I can still help out people. And people are shitting on him like LeBron has never done nothing for black people, which is ridiculous. He's the only one that's been speaking out against shit every time a social injustice issue has happened. He's the only one. He's the one that he went at Drew Brees directly when Drew Brees said the shit that he said.
And I hear him.
You know, I'm not saying what Kyrie says is wrong, but it's kind of like now we're facing the thing is, hey, if we don't cancel the NBA season, if we cancel the NBA season, guys like Kyrie, LeBron, they're going to financially be fine. But what about the people who are not financially fine? What about them? Because and that to me is kind of like
they'll play the game at the end of the day. Those may be the ones that decide, okay, we'll actually go and participate. Because when the NBA wanted to strike because the players wanted to get paid more, you had people that wanted to support that when it's like, okay, they're choosing not to play the game because they want more money. So they're willing to sit out without pay. You probably had younger players that are willing to play the game, willing to fill in those shoes because a player doesn't want to play. So if we have no problem when it's something like that, why is it a problem now where it's because we haven't had sports for the past 3 months? Is that really that? I think that to some extent, and I'm not saying you in particular, but I think a lot of people that aren't feeling Kyrie's opinion, I think it kind of stems from that also. Like, let's be honest. Like, at the end of the day, they had when they had strikes and they're saying, oh, we're not playing basketball because we're not getting paid enough money. They was willing to go without money then.
Yeah.
They could tell they could tell you how a motherfucking couch look. But now they can tell you how a motherfucking couch look. But now when it's someone saying, hey, we shouldn't play so we can stand up for injustice issues. Oh no, why would you guys want to do that? Y'all should go play the game. Y'all could do that on the side.
Me personally,
no, shit doesn't make sense.
Me personally, I feel like they should, if you want to sit out for the season, for the rest of the season, which is going to be bullshit anyway, they might as well just let people set up for the rest of the season, period. That's what I feel. and everybody else can play, and we'll just have whatever players are there do it. Because at the end of the day, look, it's going to be a discount season anyway. If you win the title, it's going to be a discount title because all the shit is crazy. You know what I mean?
No, fine, but I'm saying like the difference between people sitting out because they want to get paid versus what's going on now is like you gotta remember, they haven't played since fucking early March.
Niggas wasn't trying to play a season, bro. What do you mean? Like because at the end of the day, you're telling me someone's willing not to get paid at all because they want to get paid more. So they're willing not to play so they can't get paid. But when it comes down to a social issue that is revolving around police brutality and racism in this country, and they're primarily all black players, it becomes an issue on whether or not they should sit out. If you're willing to sit out because of your own financial gain, you're willing to sit out because of your own financial gain and not get pay,
right?
To increase your own financial gain. But you're not willing. You're saying, "Oh, nah, I ain't really trying to be bothered with that. Like I can do that, but I can get paid at the same time." Like,
yeah, but what's wrong with that?
And on top of it, it's a bogus season.
It's easy for you to say that because you're not making the kind of money and you're not living in the same type of world that these guys live in, right?
But if they live in check to check, it's kind of similar.
But are you willing to stop working at your job to go out and protest? Though that's the thing. Are you willing to stop working at your job? Are you willing to try to convince other people at your job, hey, we should stop fucking working because we have social injustice issues?
Go ahead.
No, because the average person is not going to fucking
because
do
we
that.
financially can't afford it.
Oh, okay, and who's to say that the third stringer in the NBA he can financially miss out on the whole rest of the season? Because let's be real, if you're not no NBA starter, a lot of them they don't get paid. What we see on TV like that. They don't get to keep. A lot of these motherfuckers are 19, 20. Yeah. They have no real college education. They have no real skills. So like if you're canceling the season, you're canceling their livelihood.
But they survived even when there was a strike going on. You look at Iman Shumpert where he talked about that. He came into the league as a rookie. His rookie season there was a strike, so he wasn't getting paid during this strike time. Like if we support things like that financially benefit the athletes that we enjoy watching. And we have nothing against. Nobody thinks, well, they should strike. What about the third string player? Nobody thinks about the third string player when we're saying LeBron James deserves more money, or Kevin Garnett, or Paul Pierce, or anybody like that deserves more money. But for the fact that it's a social justice issue, it's like, well, think about the guy that doesn't get any burn time on the court.
That's not true. People always are advocating for players to get more money, especially if you talk about like players in the NFL. People are always advocating for more fucking money. So it's not. So I mean, like we're talking about, hey, this decision that we make. Because what Nigel said was like, hey, if the NBA had it, we're like, hey, if you don't feel like it's right for you to play this season, you don't have to play, which is 100% fine. That's your decision. Nobody's going to ever fault you for your decision. But we're talking about something that can impact the whole league with majority rules. And not everybody has the clout, not the finances, like a Kyrie and LeBron does.
And
but
at the same time, at least they know they can. At least at the end of the day, they know. Well, okay, they protest and they don't come back for the season, and they have to wait until November. And they've made it. They realized prior to the announcement of the NBA opening back up, they already understood this was an indefinite thing, and they needed 90 days ago, 60 days ago. They had 30 days ago. They had no idea if they were going to be playing basketball again. Yeah. Until November possibly. So, and even at that moment, they were mentally prepared. No matter if you were a third string or a guy that just came off the D League or a guy that's in the D League, they all realized, hey, we might not play until November. So I need to figure some shit out now. And now with a social justice issue, it's the same thing. Like at the end of the day, no matter what decision you make, nobody, you can't satisfy 100% of people when you make any decision at the end of the day.
You're right.
And
you're right about that.
And though you look at someone like, it'd be the same as saying like if the UFC has talked before about, fighters talked about it having a union, right? When they talked about having a union, people were like, well, we don't want to have a union. Well, people wanted to have a union, but it's like, okay, like there may be a strike. people may strike for people. Some fighters are going to have to strike. The fighters will have to strike to get a union, right? That means there's going to be fighters that don't. All them fighters won't get paid unless they get unless there's a union made. At that same moment, you'll say, "Oh, someone like Connor, he's not going to listen to that. He's going to keep trying to make his money because it doesn't affect him." To me, I just at the end of the day, I just look at it like this: when it's financially benefiting for our favorite athletes and entertainers to make more money, and we advocate to support them on that. And we understand that means they may be willing to go without pay. And if it's a majority rules, it's a majority rules at the end of the day. Like, I understand everybody has their own financial plans and so on and so forth. But if my job was to tell me, hey, you know what, we're going to take a couple months off, and I've already had a lot of time on my hands already to figure out how I'm going to financially get myself from now until the season opens back up, and my job tells me, hey, in a few months you can come right back. In a few months we'll be able to come right back and just play. You'll get your money, so on and so forth. Okay, to me at that moment, it's like, okay, maybe if this is something I'm advocating for in the social issues, because at the end of the day, you can still have these conversations that are happening right now can be happening in the boardroom in terms of the NBA, because I'm sure there's racial tension within there also. And by saying, okay, I'm not going to play, it allows the player also, it empowers the player more, if anything. Though the player realizes I'm missing out on money, it empowers them, because at the end of the day, though there's a owner that signs the check and so on and so forth, nobody's watching the game if you can't watch the best players play. Like, let me ask you this. If all the first and second stringers decided to say, hey, I'm protesting, and it's just third string basketball players playing, are you going to be watching the game just so at least they get paid? You're not going to you're not watching them play.
I'm not. Well, first of all, nobody watches sports for the players to get paid. They watch the sports because it entertains them.
I know what I'm saying.
But nobody.
Are you watching third
string players? Is what he's saying.
Say that again.
Are you going to watch the game if it's only third string players playing?
I mean,
just so the season can be open, so they're able to still get paid. Because this is going along with what you're saying. Let the season be open and let those who choose. And let's say if the first and second stringers choose to sit out so they can actually deal with the social justice issues, so the third stringers can still get paid. The season's open, so the third stringers are able to play still. Are you going to watch an NBA where it's just some third stringer that a league full of third stringers that you never heard of? Are you going to watch that game? Are you going to watch the rest of that season?
Probably not. But does that matter though? I mean, does it matter if how's it affecting anybody if they do allow the third stringers to play? Because the first and second string guys, they're not playing. What's so bad about that?
What he's saying is that the people in the boardrooms don't want to hear that, because they want the first and second stringers to play, because that's what they know brings in the money, brings in the revenue, brings in the viewers.
Right.
So at the end of the day, like if you start at the league and the third stringers are the only ones on the court, that doesn't really do much for a lot of people unless you're a hardcore basketball fan. That's pretty much, at the end of the day, the only people who are going to watch it. It's just like the UFC cards. Like, if they have a whole bunch of nobodies fighting, like, yeah, we might watch it, but a large majority of people won't. And people don't want to hear that. Right. At least the people who depend on that to make the money.
Right. Exactly. No, and I get that, but we're in times right now where, like, and we're going to get weird scenarios and weird situations like that. And I think, like, the decisions that people make, a lot of people are really, like, they're really worried about, okay, my decision, and I'm not worried about what impacts others. I feel like in spaces like that, what you do does affect other people. Everything has a consequence to it. And if you want to go out and you want to, protest or do what you can to support the cause and all that, there's nothing wrong with that at all. There's nothing wrong with that. But can you really be mad at somebody who's kind of like, damn, this is kind of affecting my job? Like, damn, this sucks. Who doesn't have the same interests as you? If that person doesn't have the same interests as you, why? First of all, why would you be even worried about the way that they feel? But if they get mad at you, you shouldn't be mad, because like the decision that you made, was going to affect them anyway. So I feel like I'm not saying Kyrie is wrong on if he wants to go out and do his thing and all that, and that's fine. I just don't like how the fact that people are shitting on LeBron because he wants to go and back and play. Well, LeBron has done a lot more than fucking Kyrie before we even hit this fucking pandemic. I mean, he has. He's done a lot more. We're talking about
at the same time, does what you do in terms of avocation, what I do in terms of avocation, should that be the judging factor? Oh, well, he's given more, so he has the right to he holds more impact when it comes to the decision versus the guy that's done a lot, but it's probably, for one, it's probably not known as much because he's not as big of a superstar as LeBron. Like, where do you draw the line then? Is that what you're saying?
Builds respect.
Huh?
You're gonna get respect from you doing the bigger things though. And like that's just,
so he has the right. So he has the right. So LeBron has the right to hold more weight in making that decision than Kyrie does.
No, that's kind of like changing the narrative. I'm saying that LeBron shouldn't be shitted on because he wants to play the game and does his own way of helping people. He shouldn't be shitted on that.
Right.
You know what I mean? And people are shitting on him because the fact he wants the season to open back up. And I don't think that's fucking fair. Because I'm like, that's not, because the man who's actually done shit, right? And it's done more than Michael Jordan as far as when it comes to giving back to the black person. Because
what does that have to do with anything?
What do you mean?
I guess my thing I'm confused on that, because I agree with what you're saying. So what does LeBron has done more than Kyrie have? How does that hold weight in this whole conversation? Because you repeated that multiple times.
Because people love to forget what somebody has done. It's kind of like people have this mindset of what have you done for me lately? And Absolutely. I think that's a shitty way of thinking when it comes to this type of situation. Because I'm like, you can't forget everything that man has done. Like you can't, like LeBron, you know what I mean? Like outside of, we're not even talking about just basketball drama. We're just talking about him as a human being. You can't find one single bad thing about that man. You can't. I'm saying, like, but people are quick to forget that as soon as he said, no, I actually want to play again. And I feel like that's so shitty for somebody to be like that. Look, Kyrie is right. Right now, sports is not it shouldn't be the biggest topic, right? But if somebody wants to go back and play sports, and they've already have a proven track record of doing things outside of sports for people, why is he being shitted on? That's not fucking fair. That's just my stance on it when it comes to that. I'm not saying either gentlemen are wrong. I'm just saying that I don't like how people are shitting on LeBron for it. Kind of like back then, I think it was LeBron again, how people were kind of shitting on him. Oh, why did LeBron say anything about the whole Kobe thing during or it could have been another athlete. And you were kind of like, yo, athletes don't need to speak up all the time when something happens, blah, 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 blah.
Oh, yeah. I definitely believe that.
Yeah. So that's my thing on it. I'm not saying Kyrie's wrong. I'm not, and realistically, I'm not even saying you're wrong, right? Because those guys do make a lot more money. But if somebody, who is always doing shit for the community, NBA season or off season, but if they want to go back to make some more money, then it is what it is. It's not like LeBron is like, oh well, I'm playing for the love of the game. I just can't stay for the game. Then I can understand people be like, come on, dude, like it's not that important. But I don't know, man. That's just how I feel about it.
Look, at the end of the day, like, I'm not going to say that some of the players definitely don't have a point. They definitely do. But at the same point in time, that's just not the most important thing that's going on right now.
It's not.
Yeah. We got a lot of other things in life to worry about.
Yeah, so, like, I meant to bring it up earlier about the Chaz thing. So I'm not sure if y'all familiar, but it's called the Capitol Hill Androgynous Zone.
Okay.
So it's out of Seattle. So apparently it's like a 6-block radius. So apparently in Seattle, they moved the police. I guess they've kind of surrounded the 6-block radius where the police are, and they've taken over this zone or whatever. The protesters have.
I heard about that. I didn't know what that was. Okay.
Yeah, so they've taken over that zone, and what they've did is they actually took over that zone, and then they ended up taking what is that shit called? They took the police and everything. The police ended up moving out because they made demands. So apparently there's a photo of someone that's a guard that's being an armed security for this shit, right? So apparently Fox News, because I watched a clip on this with Fox News on YouTube earlier this morning and saw it. So Fox News was talking about how how horrible it is, and it's pretty much another country within this country because it's a 6-block radius. There's the police aren't allowed in this zone at all. They've forced the police out. They said they won't get out until their demands have been met. Apparently, you have
3 demands.
Yeah, they have 3 demands. It ranges from 3 to 10, but the one that I read, it was like 3 or 4, where it was defunding the police. They want everybody from jail to come home. Defunding the police, everybody from jail to come home, and they wanted the police to move out of that out of that area. And they wanted, I think, in the terms of defunding the police, they wanted some of that money to defund the police and go into the community to help with the community. So, and surrounding that area, they've gotten the police out already. The police no longer are there. And the governor or mayor she's trying to work with them, and is trying to still work with the people and the protesters. And Trump has came out already and said if you need to get these people out of here because they're domestic terrorists. So it's a real crazy situation. But what's wild is apparently, because there's a picture of someone that's an armed protester that's pretty much manning a certain area, so an entrance point into Chaz. And apparently Fox News put out a report about what was going on, and they photoshopped the armed security guy in front of looting buildings that were being looted.
Wow.
So so when they put out the news article, they were like, this is what's going on. Pretty much you're seeing they photoshopped 3 images to both 3 images together. So it was the security guy, and behind them it was someone breaking into a building, and then you saw people running. And they kind of came out I guess people kind of came out and said some shit about it. So they ended up pulling it off the news. But I just want to let y'all know about this shit because it's letting you know how if nobody ever called them on it, they would have just ran with it. They would have ran with it and said, yo, it is what it is, and this is what's going on, and this is what it looks like. And their supporters probably would have believed it. As well as I think they had them, they photoshopped him armed. I think they photoshopped him in front. Say that 10 times. ShotoPhop. Type ShotoPhop under the comments page of the Highly Advised podcast on Instagram. But they photoshopped him in front of something to make it look like he was standing guard. So even the media Fox News, they've been manipulating things. They pulled the article down and everything, and they try to say it was a misunderstanding, or they didn't put out the right disclaimer. It's kind of crazy, man.
The world is a crazy place. There's so much shit going on right now.
Yeah,
I'm with Kyrie, man. Fuck that shit.
Man,
Facts.
I just read up on it while you were talking about it. That shit is crazy because it might influence other areas to do the same. You know what I mean? That's shit that happens in movies and video games and shit like that. And that shit is that's real life crazy.
Yeah,
send me a link.
It is. Yeah, I'm gonna send you. I'm gonna try to see if I can send you the article that I was reading that was talking about this stuff. The whole thing is crazy, but Seattle, that's how they give it up, because I watched the movie 10 years ago in a class I had, and it was with Andre 3000's in it, and it was about where they were protesting in the 90s in Seattle for I think against the World Health Organization or something like that. And apparently it pretty much what's going on now, and this is why I do believe some of the people that were looters aren't why I believe that some of these people that are looters are actually police or something, was even during that time, during that protest in the 90s, you had people it was known that the police actually were dressing up like protesters to do looting to incite rioting, so that the cops could use forceful tactics. I know because of this, though, one thing, the positives that have came out of it is that now they put a 30-day ban on using tear gas. They're calling the governor or mayor now to create a law so police cannot incite people so they can use violence. So it's like the whole thing is crazy. I would look more into it if I was y'all. Like, it's crazy. That's crazy, but to me, it's like we live in a world where everything is just crazy right now. From something like that and the social issues that we're having, to hearing Dave Chappelle talk about stuff, to even like people still having this stupid debate on like the internet on whether or not you should date someone, if you should or shouldn't date someone if they're an entrepreneur or have a 9-to-5 job. Like,
boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
So that's the thing. Like I hear it mostly from I hear it usually from females, where it's just like, and not to say that men don't say it too, because I know sometimes it's like that. It's like, hey, you should take me as I am.
Shout out to my boss, bitches, wife, and niggas.
Accept me for who I am. But it's like, when I hear people say like, oh, I won't date a guy who's working an honest 9-to-5, it's like, get that bullshit out of here, man.
Facts.
And a lot of the women, right? There's women who are out there who are like, hey,
thoughts.
I gotta watch what I say, right? There's a lot of women out there who's like, hey, I got this going on. I don't need a guy who can't match my type of lifestyle or whatever like that. So, like, for example, a woman who's CEO, she might not be wanting to fuck with a guy who's a burger boy. That's understandable. Yeah. You know what I mean? I get that. You know what I mean? I mean, love shouldn't be determined by a salary, but I understand it.
Right.
It's a lot about what you can do for me.
Right. I want somebody on your level. But there's some females who don't got shit going on with each other. I mean, with themselves, and they want a nigga who, who's a hustler, a nigga that that doesn't have an honest job, but these women, they don't have shit going on. And the B Simone thing, I don't hate B Simone, right? But the thing about, I just disagree with that whole concept. Kind of like, what's wrong with a 9-to-5 guy, especially a 9-to-5 guy that's probably making more money than you year round? You know what I mean? And I think that's not fair. And then she just gets caught up in some plagiarism shit.
I was gonna bring that up.
Where she's plagiarizing from other sisters. You know what I mean? And I'm kind of like,
black woman.
Yeah, they were black women, and it was kind of like, you so-called talking about you don't want no 9-to-5 guy, you want an entrepreneur, businessman, et cetera, but you're not doing honest shit, and you stealing from your own fucking people. That's not cool. I mean, I don't agree that she should be canceled or nothing like that, but she was just plain fucking wrong, and I think that there's nothing wrong with being a 9-to-5 guy. There's not. There's so many niggas out here, right? Oh, fuck a job, I don't need a job. But they down on their fucking dick. You know what I mean? They got retro 11 Jordans, but they don't got no motherfucking car. They got the Gucci belt on them, but they don't. But they're sitting there taking public transportation or relying on niggas to hook them up with an Uber.
Here's my thing, right? I remember when me and Lyle, we used to work at a warehouse, and I'll never forget it. The guy, that we used to work with, he had a Gucci belt. He wore a shirt, tucked into his pants so you could see his Gucci belt. At the end of the day, he was like, "Yo, can I use your phone? I don't have a phone. Can I use your phone?"
What?
Now, I understand why you wouldn't want to get with a guy like that. Clearly, his priorities aren't straight. When you got to use your phone to call your ride to get home, but you can show me your Gucci belt, something's a little off about that. Cool, fine, whatever. Maybe you might not want to date that 9-to-5 guy.
But see, but you gotta realize he had to pay. He only paid $450 for the belt. He only paid $450 for the belt. The phone costs $1,000, and you got to get a plan. So that means he paying like $110 a month for what, 2 years?
So really,
that's over $1,200.
He made the smart decision and got the belt first.
Exactly.
Oh, okay. Damn, I didn't
See,
know that.
nigga,
That's
nigga,
crazy.
I could get fly. As long as I'm getting fly, as long as I look like money, money gonna come to me. And if money seem like it might come to me, if money give me a number, I can just use your phone.
And it was a cool belt. I'm not gonna lie. It's just that, like, I mean, you don't, good luck with your phone. You better go to
I,
fucking Burger King and use their phone.
look, man. So here's the thing. You guys could correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe I'm looking at it at a wrong perspective, right? Check this out, right? Let's say a woman, she's making like 350,000 a year, right?
Okay.
But she's not making it from a job. Let's say she's like some type of influencer, and she's getting money from all these sponsorships, endorsements, blah blah
That's
blah.
great.
Right. Now let's say she meets a guy who don't make 350. Let's say he makes like 150.
Okay.
He's like a branch manager for a company, right? That's
Nothing wrong with that.
good fucking money. But it's a 9 to 5, right? There ain't no branch manager that has their own schedule doing whatever the fuck they want. They work certain days. Tell me that's fucked up for a woman to be like, no, he has a 9 to 5, so I ain't fucking with him. That's to me. That's fucked up because that guy he's not making bad money. He has a good job. I mean, he may be a good guy. You'll never know that because you're not going to give the nigga the time of the day. I
Well,
mean, am I crazy for thinking that?
well,
Or
I mean,
there's nothing wrong. I understand that women want a certain, and I think I shouldn't even say women. I think people want a certain amount of security from the people that they're with. That's fair enough. But at the same point in time, like if you know somebody is like making an honest living and is getting theirs and can provide for you and actually help you out, and they're not just struggling alongside you. There's no issue with that.
right, exactly. Like, I mean, but you have people that is always a thing. Like I know people that are like that are like, oh, I won't date her. I know people that only date someone based off their occupation. Like, and I know a dude that does. I know a couple dudes that actually do that, where they'll date a girl based off her occupation first. If she doesn't make a certain income level, he won't date her. And it's not saying she has to make more than him. She can make less than him, but it has to be a certain level. I think, to be honest with you, I think it's probably more of a headache when it's two people that run two separate companies, because you can't, like, when B. Simone said all of that, right? She's living in this fairy tale saying, I'm up at 3 a.m. answering emails. He's up at 3 a.m. answering emails. And then I'm like, oh, I got to go somewhere tomorrow. You want to catch a flight with me so we can go together? And she's like, cool. And we'll have to get into that another time. But that's just like this illusion that a chick has of what she thinks a relationship would be, versus the reality is, okay, like, even when I had like a little side thing going on for a minute, like I was dating someone, and the girl, she used to always ask me, why are you always checking your email? Why are you always checking your email? Like, and this was a girl, granted, this was a girl, like, she wasn't like she just believed in just going to work and that's it. No other streams of income. So like, she didn't understand it, and I'm like, damn, this is one of the things that made me not kind of like her to some extent. Or what, not like her, but it was somewhat unattractive, because it's like, you have to understand, like, okay, I make money answering these emails. So you can't celebrate the hustle, but then shun the process. But in the same breath, it's easier when it's something like that versus, okay, well, if me and my girl are the exact way, and I'm attracted to women that have some hustle to them, but at the
True.
same time, I realize, like, hey, if I'm going to be with someone that hustles just as hard or harder, I got to realize I'm not, that whole mystique of being able to just hop on a jet because me and my spouse can, it doesn't necessarily mean it can happen. And like, a lot of times, like I've seen that before, where you have people that are entrepreneurs. Like, I remember being at a forum before, and the guy he owned a karate school. His wife was a banker. His wife was like the bank manager. So she makes over he said they all together, they bring in $250,000 a year. He probably only brings in $60,000 a year.
yeah, because
Like,
he's a fucking
but he's an entrepreneur and she has a 9 to 5. Like,
There's nothing wrong with
like,
that.
I mean, yeah, like, it's all about preference. But I think B. Simone, to some extent, like, she has a right to have her own preference, but she's a little delusional. Like Twitter was even saying, like, there's people that's in high school that do that. that's in college that do that. Oh, I could be at the I've been at parties before, checking my email. Like, oh, let me check my email, make sure my professor ain't hit me back. Let me hit my professor up. Or, oh, let me check these assignments or something regarding to assignments while I'm actually out. So like, and granted, it's completely different, but her criteria is very loose. Like it holds no definition or no weight to it. It's just, oh, I want to date an entrepreneur. So what does that mean? Like, and I think that goes with even men do the same thing, but I know I've seen a lot with women where they have this they build this facade of what a relationship is versus what a relationship actually is in reality. Like I've heard women say things that you realize, oh, you shouldn't be in a relationship because you don't have the reality, you don't understand the reality of what a relationship is.
Exactly.
You just want someone that can be hustling just as hard as you, but you don't realize what the real hustle is. But that's why at the end of the day, like she got caught with the plagiarism shit, and she probably gonna get sued for it. And like, you know, it comes with the casualties of business and doing shit like that.
Yeah.
But you know, hey, she'll learn one day, and in the meantime, she could deal with a 9-to-5 dude that's gonna sleep with her a little bit extra so he can get that PS5.
Yep.
And just chill. Like hell, like that's the reality of it all. Like there's some dude that work a 9-to-5, that girl's an entrepreneur, and he probably was like, she make more money than me, and she gonna give me this PS5.
She's gonna give me a PS5. I'm gonna chill out. I'm gonna play Last of Us Part 2. I'm gonna play all that shit and chill out with my bros. You know what I mean? All that good shit.
Exactly. Like I didn't really watch. I saw something on the timeline about that shit, but I didn't really get too much into it. Like what was the whole what was the whole thing with the PS5? Because I heard it's like $700 or some shit like
Whoa.
that.
All right. So essentially what happened was they didn't really release a price tag for it, but they showed what the PS5 is actually going to look like. They showed some of the games that are going to be on it. Pretty much it was like a presentation of games that were going to be on it and different features that will be on the PS5, and just, you know, what to expect from the holiday season. So you had a different
half a stack. Fuck that.
Yeah, it might be around $500, $600. I think if they want to win this console war, they're gonna go right around, because they have two versions. So I think the digital version will be right around 500, and I think the full version of the PS5 will be around $600.
Man, that thing better have a flashlight in it or something. You paying
No,
that
not.
much money.
I mean, why not though? Why would you want to pay? I mean, $700 is excessive. I'm not saying that, but like
I think if I'm paying $700, granted I don't play games like that. If I'm paying $700, bro, that thing better have a flashlight in it or something.
People pay more for their phones, for real.
Yep,
yeah,
iPhones, you know, and
that's why. Oh, I get it now. you not buying an iPhone so you could buy the PS5.
I'm not buying it.
You buying the Gucci belt and asking me for the phone.
Nah, because I don't give a fuck about the iPhone. That's why I'm not buying that.
But I think I mean, we could probably touch more about it later in the year
as information comes out.
Yeah, but if the console is $500, maybe $600 max, I think a lot of people are kind of expecting that because of the kind of hardware it is. Right. It's not no rinky-dink bullshit. So I can understand why it's going to be a little costly. Shit, like good laptops and good computers. If you really want one, you're gonna have to spend some bread. You know what I mean? The way technology is today, if you want some good shit, you gotta put some money up for it anyway. You know.
Oh, that's a fact.
So so the price thing, as long as it's not nothing really absurd and out of the way, it's more or less of what do you want and what are you willing to pay for what you want. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I'm not paying $800 for the bitch. I can tell you that. Like that shit would be.
Najee gonna be on the streets talking about y'all got some cheeseburgers.
Yeah, oh. Right. I don't need to play any game that bad. I'm good. Like,
I got these cheeseburgers.
Like, I like video games, but I'm not in any rush to buy some shit that costs $800. Pass.
Well,
I feel you.
I mean, there's, like I said, it's not going to be a whole lot to say on it right now until more and more information come on. But I think with video games, I think it's becoming, as each year is going by, it's becoming more and more popular because more and more things are happening with it. You see more and more people doing it. More and more people are doing innovative things with it. So it's interesting times and all that. Now I don't know how well the sales are going to do due to like the current climate in the fucking world with the pandemic and America itself with what's been going on with the social injustice and everything. But with that being said,
Are we striking PlayStation?
No.
Nah.
PlayStation. There was one of them. They came out and said, "Hey, we're gonna postpone our shit."
Yeah,
yeah.
That was kind of dope. Actually, I respected that move.
Yeah, they
I
postponed.
fuck with that.
And man, there was a lot of people that was mad about that shit.
They were like, PlayStation Lives Matter. Black people ruin everything in the comments. They said that.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
said
Are you
black people
serious?
ruin everything. Yo, man, I kid you not. People were pissed off. They were like, look, I need this shit. Like, they were like, who gives a fuck about da 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 da, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's crazy. That's wild as hell.
yeah.
That's wild. That's wild as hell.
It's crazy. People don't give a fuck. They want to play their games. Like, hey, man, I don't get it.
We gonna see more. We gonna see more action from them though as time moves on though.
We got anything else to say for the week?
You've been highly advised.
No.
But nah, I'm good. I ain't got much more to say. We talked to everything. Travis part of Dave Chappelle, cancel shit, the Rayshard shit. So I think we covered everything.
Yeah, we had a lot to talk about this week, and we're definitely gonna come back next week and get back to doing this thing for y'all. We appreciate everybody who's listening.
Stop pandering to the people.
Definitely comment. What is it? ShotoPhop on the podcast on Instagram, Twitter. If you're listening to this right now, just let us know that you're out there in the world.
Yeah. Comment on I want you guys to comment on tweet. Just tweet us at what's the Twitter? What advised highly 1, right? And on Instagram, comment under the picture, the episode picture for episode 13. Comment comment shot.
ShotoPhop.
ShotoPhop.
Yeah,
That's the episode name right there.
yeah. Lau will give you $1,000 if you do that.
Yeah.
Cat.
He'll buy,
Yeah. No, you're right. I'm gonna say
Lau will buy you. Lau's gonna buy you 2 PlayStation 5s
Yep.
on his ugly guy shit.
No.
Yo, what was up with that nigga beard too, man?
Well, I don't know what's up with that nigga's beard, but they said niggas fell off so hard he got saved up for the PS5. That had me rolling. I was like, for real, that's crazy.
I like Ugly God too, man. I fuck with Ugly God.
I feel like he financially straight. He's been living in the same spot since he been on.
I think he was just a product of
SoundCloud.
Yeah, I'm not saying that he couldn't have improved his rapping skills, but he was. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, wow. Yeah. I mean, you'll see. I put it like this. Only thing I know with Ugly God before we sign out of here, I just know he decided not to go to college to study biology to pursue rap. So,
hey man, shout out to Ugly God. He's out there doing his thing. I hope he gets 3 PS5s.
Yeah, he said he's gonna buy. He said if you could show him where to buy it, he'll buy you.
Yeah. Give me one too, because I need that shit.
Yeah, just show him. Quit your job and work for Ugly God.
Oh,
there you go.
I'm sure Ugly Guy paying the same amount.
I hope so. I hope he pays more, actually. All right. Lau, you got anything to say?
Yeah, just as always, everybody stay safe. Remember that definitely if you're gonna go out there and protest and support, 100% do it, but also stay safe because there's still a pandemic going on. So make sure you just be aware of yourself. So keep doing your thing, and hopefully everybody is tunes into the next episode and keeps tuning in and keeps giving back feedback and keeps suggesting things if they feel like they if this shit they want to suggest doesn't mean we're going to take it. We're just going to be like yeah, but that's how we are.
Well, do you want to go over what we got in the DMs real quick?
We did a poll actually. What's going on, everybody? We did a poll actually, and we looked on if Freddie Gibbs' album was a classic or not. And my man's at On the Humble on Instagram, he told me he thinks it was a banger. So I got to chatting with him, and I was like, "Yo, so what you think is your top 5?" He wasn't sure if it was I don't know where he put it at in his top 5, but I asked him what was his top 5 so far this year in terms of albums, and he said Freddie Gibbs, West Side Gun, Jay Electronica and Jay-Z, Stove God Cooks, and Drake.
Wow. I was expecting a Rock Marciano affiliated project on there.
Yeah, I actually listened to some of it. It's kind of good, man. It's not so bad.
Yeah, I keep hearing about it. Probably by the time this come out, I'm gonna be checking it out. I'm definitely gonna check it out. He told me that, and there's another Rock Marcy project I need to check out that I got suggested by him. But on a humble shout outs to him, because he got some good music taste. He got some real good music taste. I definitely could say that.
Yeah.
Like, we chopped it up talking about the Rock Marciano and then just other rappers and shit. Like, shout outs to him, man. Real shit. That's actually a good top 5. We're gonna have to actually get into that probably maybe next episode or so about just the top five records, because top 5 albums, because I still got to listen to Stove God Cooks, but just looking at his top 5, there may be a good conversation as well as whether or not like how much of his top 5 is going to be in ours, because it looks like a lot of his top 5 may be in mine. So
yeah, man, definitely. It's going to be kind of an interesting thing to see. And, we'll probably talk about it more when we talk about music next week for sure. But, all right, y'all. Y'all been highly advised. I don't really have much to say. Stay safe. Boom, boom, boom. Bang, bang. All that other good shit. Boom, boom, boom. We're out.
yeah, all right. Y'all take it easy. You've been highly advised.